Okay, finally we get to talk about pens. After all this, we get to draw something. So I may have mentioned before that by default, your pen is set to the brush, which is this small one that looks like a little paintbrush. And I'm sure by now you've noticed that if you just put your pen down on the tablet and scribble, you get a scribble, and that's the brush. However, over on the left here, and notice in this particular case, if I keep my cursor a little bit further away from the screen, it's not as bright. I go down and it's bright, and I go back and I get a little hairline here. But if I jump over to the left, it looks like a fancy old pen like a president would sign a bill with. Click on that, and then I draw stuff. And you see it's just a thicker pen, pretty much the same, but a thicker line. So that's easy enough. And while I'm here, I might as well just use this undo to make some space for myself. Or I can use the rover, as we discussed before, to give myself some more room to scribble on. So now I'm going to go, let me draw something. I'll go back and pick the pen. And here's somebody. And here's somebody else. And here's somebody different. And I want to highlight somebody. So we'll say this is Bob, Sally, and Joe. And I want to highlight Sally, so I can click the laser pen and say, yep, that's Sally. And notice what happens is that highlight flashes off and on. So as long as I don't do anything else, that's just emphasizing that one item. If you want people to really focus. As soon as I do something else, I go over and circle Joe. Now he's highlighted. And then I go over and notice how Bob's kind of bow-legged. So that's sort of a temporary item, like a laser pointer, but it stays a little bit longer. And then finally we have the highlighter over here, and the highlighter is simply a thicker pen, so we could highlight Sally here. But notice it's not as red. It's like the laser thing, but it stays. And I can scribble, of course, because unlike regular ink, I don't damage my paper. So that's that. And then finally we have this intelligent pen. And the intelligent pen's a lot of fun because it allows us to draw shapes like a triangle and have it turn it into a perfect triangle, or almost perfect, and a circle. And it just kind of straightens out the lines. And if you can draw a circle nicely, it eventually turns into a good circle. And if you draw a line with a tick on it, turns it into an arrow. If you draw a circle with a tick on it, turns it in, well, it's not always predictable, but I've gotten circles with arrows on them sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't know what you're trying to do, so if I do this, it can't really be very intelligent about that. But circles and ovals, in this case, you see I got arrows on both ends. Takes a little bit of practice, but after a while you just get to where you can, make errors here and there. So I want to point to Bob. Well, I got to do a little bit better drawing a straight line. There's Sally, and I want to draw a circle around Joe, and there we go. So if you're doing mathematics or you're doing something where the diagrams are an important part of things, this just allows them to look a little bit cleaner. So let's just recap. We've got the pen, which is sort of thick. We've got the brush, which is a little bit thinner. We've got the laser, which is just a highlighter that blinks on and off to emphasize something. We've got the highlighter, which allows you to actually, emphasize something and keep it there. And then we have the smart pen that allows me to draw shapes and have it kind of figure out what they should look like. It seems to be doing rectangles pretty nicely, actually, and presumably squares are similar to that. So there you have your pens, and it'll get fun once we start getting into colors and thicknesses. And I'll tease you a little bit just by showing you the eraser here. We've got the eraser. We can erase a region, clear all, or pixel eraser. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all. And there you go.